Soda podcast. I am your host, Jennique Mason, founder CEO of Club Soda, the only real dating app for people who don't drink and everyone that wants to date us. We are live in the App Store. We're invite only in LA. And today, our guest is Elyse.
Hi.
How are you, Elyse?
I'm really good. I'm really good. Yes.
I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. It was a little bit of a pain getting off, around LA today.
Yes, as it is.
Yes.
As it is.
Usually.
So Elyse is one of the most beautiful and incredible women that I've ever met. It's true. And she has an incredible podcast called Clutter Bravado.
Yes.
Okay, so you were in Palm Springs for Modernism Week just a week ago? Valentine's Day?
Oh my gosh, Valentine's Day, yes.
Okay.
So wait, is today Friday? I have no idea what day it is. Okay, great.
Yes.
So we went there on Thursday, my podcast co-host and I.
Yes.
We went there on Thursday. We were there through like Monday, 3.5 hour drive home. But
no big deal.
But it was wild. We did something like 7 interviews while we were there, and it was...
Wow. It doesn't feel like that because the pace of the show and just your conversation, it flies by.
Yeah. I
there
will
were 7
say,
different guests on that one?
Yes. So on the episode that we have out now, we had 3 different guests. All of them are designers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's the one that I listened to.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's actually, we kind of broke it up into 2. So there's a couple that lives together, works together.
Yes.
And they're amazing. And I love them so much. So
Boulders,
we had,
Disney animals. Their second home, right?
Their second home,
yes.
yes.
Or is this now their permanent home?
No, it's their second home.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they were
they're
so cute.
Interior designers from
Aries.
Citizens Artists. Yes. Oh my God.
How does that work?
Can we? Okay. Listen.
I'm Leo rising, so I'm sympathetic, but 2 Aries,
What is your sun sign?
Libra.
Me too.
My moon's Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
How is that? Well, that's why you're a mogul. That's like created an app, created a podcast. I can do everything. That's your Virgo moon. That makes sense to me. I'm a Libra sun.
Yeah.
Gemini moon.
Okay.
Yes.
Variety is the spice of life.
Truly,
honey.
I can't stay in the same place for very long.
No.
Yes, I have a lot of emotions. Also, I'm a Cancer rising.
Okay.
So I emote very publicly. Yes.
Yeah, but that's it's very feminine and you're sensitive, but it's not too much.
Yes.
I have Venus in Scorpio, which depending on your views on
I have
that.
Venus in Scorpio.
Oh my God. At least we have so much in common.
We have so much in common.
Things are really...
We're deeply compatible.
We're deeply compatible. Okay, so Palm Springs Modernism Week, so real quick, just for those who don't know, Clutter Bravado, beautiful podcast, lifestyle and design?
Yes, interior design and lifestyle, yes.
Interior design and lifestyle, okay. But they really go deep,
yes.
Okay, so it's not you can know nothing about it and still really enjoy it. But the longer you listen to it, you're gonna find out about designers, what's popular right now, what's not.
Yes.
Apparently there's a lot of cream in Palm Springs at this time.
Okay, here's the thing. We've had so many designers on our show talk about how cream is dead.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought we were over that.
Yeah,
yes.
that's something that we need to let's acknowledge that we had a moment. Cream, everything had a moment.
Because I thought we were going more to the maximalism side of things.
Well, here's the thing.
Is that done too?
It's not done.
Yeah.
Everything has its place.
Right.
And every designer has the ability to create a space that's unique for their client.
Right.
And there's a little fingerprint that every designer will have on a space. And so you can kind of look at a room and be like, oh, I have a feeling this reminds me of so-and-so. Or this reminds me of something that they would have done.
Yes.
But when you get too pigeonholed into this one look or this one style, that's when you start to come up against this okay, this feels like a trend that needs to die.
Yeah, and it starts to just get kind of old.
And we started seeing a lot of the same things, and so it was a lot of this everything was bubbly and everything was boucle and everything was cream.
Oh, no more boucle.
I think that we can take a break.
Boucle go away.
We can take a little break. But it's really interesting to talk to designers because the way that it got started.
They're so knowledgeable. Yeah, how did you get into this?
I started off because I was working with a designer I started off as her assistant, and I had started like building more like social media. And so I was intending at first to just kind of like do some behind the scenes things. But the more I started working with her, the more I was fascinated by design.
Right.
I got so into it.
It's very cool.
And I ended up doing a lot more like work for her. So I started getting into sourcing, started meeting representatives of showrooms, and started like connecting with people.
So fun.
It was so fun.
So
and
fun.
I had this experience where I met my co-host. So
he's adorable, by the way.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's a great presence.
I got really high pitched there for a second. No, he's great.
He's great.
It is so odd that you can meet someone who is nothing like you.
Right,
And
but that's kind of
we
the
could not
synergy.
be more opposites, but we
it works.
We work together so well.
No, it's nice.
Yeah.
Because he's like very like laid back, but
He
very
is.
knowledgeable.
He's so chill.
Yeah. And I like his accent. He has an accent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's from the south of France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But it's very like subtle, it's subdued. It's like sophisticated, but it's not like in your face. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a great pairing.
Yes.
How did you meet him?
So we met because I went to an event. It was a design event, and this
Okay.
was almost exactly a year ago.
Okay.
And I went to this design event. The designer that I was working with did not, like, she wasn't able to attend.
Mm-hmm.
So I go by myself. I walk into this place and I look around, and it is the most fabulous, beautiful people that I've ever seen in my life. I know none of them.
Where was the event?
This was actually at Apparatus. So Apparatus is an incredible lighting company. They're like, it's art.
We're getting into it now.
It is.
But was the event like
Beautiful.
in LA?
It was in LA.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it was
got
at their
it.
showroom in LA and Hollywood.
Okay, got
if
it.
you have a chance to go to the Apparatus showroom, go.
Now I'm curious.
It is one of the most beautiful and serene places that I've ever been. I
And
was
it's
just there last
lighting.
night as well. Yes.
Okay, very important.
Yeah, and it's like the scale of these pieces. It's stunning.
Oh,
And
I'm
they're
excited to check it out.
And it's so inspirational. Every time I go in there, it
Yeah.
just makes me feel like, oh, I know where I would want to put this. And like,
I love going
Yeah.
into the showrooms, like of the different design, like
Yeah.
interior design stores on Beverly.
yeah.
Yeah, and because it's very inspiring. And you
Totally.
get lots of ideas.
Totally.
Yeah.
On Beverly, and then also on La Cienega. So we're all over the place right now.
No,
But
that's fine.
Clutter Bravado is going to be involved in the West Hollywood Design District event. There's like a big thing that's happening. So all those places on Beverly, you're going to be able to go in
Okay,
there and
when
check
is
them
this
out.
event?
This is the first week of March.
The first week of March.
Yes.
Okay, and so
Yeah.
you'll be there doing your podcast.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my
We're going to be doing
gosh.
that. We're still working out all the details, and so I can't give you details
No,
of
no,
everything
of
right
course
now.
not. Of course not.
But yes, we will be present. We will be doing some live recording there, and just being there and going experiencing it.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
So highly recommend going to the Apparatus showroom. It is
Yeah,
amazing.
okay.
So I'm at this event, and there are so many people around that I don't know. I'm
Right.
so intimidated. I feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah, when
I'm
you
also,
don't know people, that can be
Totally.
very anxiety provoking.
And I didn't know enough about the network of designers in Los Angeles yet to know that it's a very safe and comfortable and welcoming place. Like
Right.
people love each other here, which is
Right.
awesome. But
Which is awesome.
I wasn't a part of that. So
Right.
I'm just there. I was on the RSVP list, knew no one.
Right.
And I started to get a little bit of a panic attack. So as you'll notice on the podcast as well, I've addressed it a few times. I'm like, I'm a little bit more high strung than I think I am.
No, but it's
I
great.
think that I'm laid back.
You're energetic for sure.
I once
Obviously.
had a friend of mine who's like
It's
a
the moon
spiritual.
in Gemini, dare I say.
That'll do it.
Life of the party.
I had a friend of mine who's like kind of a spiritual advisor for me, and there was one time I came to her and I was like going through something really, really rough, and it was in a relationship, and she sat me down and she's like, Elyse, I need you to understand something. You're not chill. You need to stop pretending to be chill.
I have zero chill and I own it and I already know. So
I like that though, because I was also like at the time, I think when we had this conversation, I was like 29, and I'm like, okay, I like leaving my 20s, realizing like, oh wait, I have needs and I'm not chill.
not chill.
Wow. So back to
chill.
this Apparatus event. I'm nearly having a panic attack. I'm
Yeah.
having a social anxiety moment, and I'm trying to get through the main room where everything is. There's like this big seating
So
area
did you
in
come
the
to
center.
this event alone?
Alone. Yes.
Okay, that's very intimidating.
I like going out alone.
I mean, it's great, but sometimes in the social scenario like that,
in
like,
a professional setting.
yeah, I can struggle.
Wildly intimidating.
I might just leave.
Also, at the time, I wasn't a designer.
Right.
I was working for a designer.
Right.
So I'm like, what am I doing here?
So you went because you heard about it and you wanted to go.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
And I also
okay.
I like the idea of networking and mingling, but usually you need to have like one person who's you're in.
It
you
helps.
know? It does.
It just makes it a little more comfy.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I looked around this room, didn't recognize anyone, started to feel like, okay,
Yeah,
I think I need to get out of
palpitations.
here.
Yes.
And the way that this room is structured is there's a big seating area in the middle, and then everyone is standing around it. There's no way to get through. There are so many people in this room, and I'm like,
So we're talking like 100 people.
Yeah, well, more maybe at the whole event, more than that.
I've
for
already
sure.
gone home at that point. I left.
Again, dude, I used to navigate nightclubs. Like, I was
Right?
just fine. I would make
I
so many
know.
friends. This is a different scenario.
I know.
So I'm trying to like make it through the crowd, and like there's no at one point there's like a little window between two people. I'm like, maybe I can squeeze between them. They get closer. I'm like, okay. I'm looking around. I must look so panicked. Also, I don't know if you guys can tell this on camera. I'm 6 feet tall, and at the time I was in a
tall
2-inch
and
heel.
gorgeous.
So I'm 6'2".
You were 7 feet tall, basically.
I'm all the way up here, you know? And so at one point I'm looking around, and there's only one person there who makes eye contact with me. And it is this like shorter, older French guy. And I don't realize he's French at the time. And so he looks at me and he sees that I'm panicked, and he just makes a sidestep so there's a small window for me to walk through. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
God bless him.
So I start to walk through. Who is he talking to? Someone that I've known for 9 years.
What?
Yes.
Oh, what are the odds?
And like the only person in the room that I really knew,
Right.
he happened to be talking to, and I
Right.
didn't see him until he stepped out of the way.
I love those little coincidences.
It was a moment where I was like, oh, this is like the universe aligned for me to meet this person today, and for
I love
me
moments
to
like that.
Oh God,
Just
I
like the
needed
synchronicity.
it. I needed that, and it was such a gift, and I'm so grateful for it now. So we had
Look
a short,
where that led.
right?
Yeah.
We had a short conversation. And it turns out that all of the people that they were all like talking to, so like my friend that I've known for a very long time, and then my co-host now, who is just like some guy,
Yeah.
like all of them were also the only sober people there.
What? The plot thickens.
I'm like, how do you
Out of a group of at least 100 people.
Easily.
Like, what are the odds that you
that
find
I happen
each other
to
in
find
this
the
group,
people
and
that
you-
are all standing together, drinking seltzer water with lime.
And you go there knowing no one.
Exactly. Isn't that a gift?
I love that.
So truly,
It makes me feel so cared for.
The universe, pow,
Yeah.
just landed me there, and so it was great to make make those connections and to talk to everybody there. I was introduced to a lot of people that night that I don't remember people the first time.
Right.
I need to meet you again.
I have to ask your name about 10 times.
Totally.
But then we're locked in. And I'm not afraid to do that.
No,
I
will.
feel like,
I
and
will.
your name again, and I just keep doing that until
I don't know that I have that much humility to admit that I don't know their names.
I
But-
do, because I want to know their name.
I have little tricks though.
Okay, I need to hear about these
I'll call
tricks.
somebody babe for the friend. And then introduce them to my friend. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Meet my friend. And then they have if I don't introduce either
that,
of them,
that way it'll come out.
then they do it
Okay.
for each other. Exactly. And then I
Okay.
hear it and I remember it sometimes. Other times I don't even listen. And then I'm just
You're like, babe, it's so good to see you.
Babe, it's so good to see you.
That is genius.
Ooh, or darling. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Love those.
Well, you could pull that off though, and it doesn't feel patronizing or condescending.
And also,
which
it's
is a gift.
It's not
That's a
that I
gift.
don't remember you or that you don't
No,
mean
of course
something to
not.
me. It's that names for me in and out. Yeah.
I'll never forget your face.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But if we haven't really talked, sometimes the name won't stick.
Totally.
Like when I'm meeting new people, if they're willing, and you probably already know this about me, maybe not. I always ask if I can take their picture.
Oh, I love that.
And sometimes people are like, "Oh, can I send you one?" And
yeah.
I won't decline that, but I'm like, this filtered picture that doesn't really look like you. Like, I kind of have a photographic memory in the sense that if I get to take a picture of you right now in the moment that I met you, and I have the context, when you come up on
really
my
smart.
phone,
Yeah.
I know exactly who you are. Like, I remember the conversation,
Yeah.
everything. It just helps me a lot. Most people are okay with it. Some people are not.
I take selfies when I give someone my phone number.
And I do the same thing.
Do you?
Yes. And
I
I
love
tell them,
it.
I'm not going to send you some polished photo.
No.
I'm taking a picture of me right now also.
Oftentimes the least flattering photo, but it's great because then you
funny.
remember me. Yeah.
Because it's who we really are.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly. So anyway,
Okay.
at this event, I'm meeting all of these people. It was awesome to feel connected for that night.
Yes.
When I left, I'm like, okay, there is something special about this. And
So you felt a little chemistry.
chemistry in that this is someone that I really want to work with.
Yeah.
So this is someone that I want,
Yeah.
they're going to be in my life for a while. That's weird.
That's amazing.
It's really cool. So, So he ended up invited me. His name is Laurent, by the way. I should just say his name. I've like talked about him for like 15 minutes now. But he has, so where he lives is also the showroom for the furniture that he's a furniture maker.
Oh.
Yeah. So he works with the furniture line.
Wow.
Yeah. So his line is all of the furniture at where he lives. And then when he has clients that are coming there or designers that are coming in to look at furniture, they come to his house.
So this stuff's made by hand.
It is. It's he has a workshop. Yes. But all of it's made by hand for sure. There's not like, yeah.
That's incredible.
And it's so incredibly beautifully done.
Well, maybe we can show some of the pieces in here.
Oh my God. Yes.
If he's
also,
okay with that, I would love that.
You're going to have to come on my podcast, by the way, because like lifestyle wise, like you're definitely someone I want to have on. So we'll do a little cross promotion there.
That would be fun.
But yeah, I mean, you sit in it, like it is some of the most comfortable, most beautiful furniture. And
so mostly seating or?
Mostly like upholstery, but
okay.
But he also does like a
fun.
lot of like side tables, and that like he has this huge, beautiful dining room table. So here's the other thing about him though, is that
this is very special.
He's also a chef.
What does Laurent not do?
I know, right? So he's also a chef.
Laurent sober? Is he single?
I think, I don't know.
Sorry, Laurent.
We don't go into that. Like that's none of my.
We'll keep his personal life to the side.
His personal life is none of my business.
Amazing.
But yeah, so he had this event. He has a lot of events at his house, obviously. So he wants people to come and see the furniture. And also he's an incredible, like, he loves to entertain.
Yes.
He's an incredible host.
Yes.
So he had a party at his house, it was like a week or 2 weeks after I met him. And I went there and I brought the designer I was working with, and I like met everyone. And it was the first time that I felt like, oh, I love these people. I want to work with these people. I want to learn from these people. I love every part of it. And so then, a couple months, I started going to like some more like design events. And he would invite me to them because he always knew when they were coming up. He's like, you should come to this. You should learn about this.
Yeah.
And when I would go to these events with him, he was really helping me to hone my own taste and keep my eye really fresh. Those are things really important with design. And he really took me under his wing. And, so then a few months after,
know how to live. I'm just gonna say it. I went to Paris for my birthday in October, and I cried when I had to leave.
Yeah,
I feel, I'm just gonna say it, America is in its flop era.
Oh my God,
and I would love
that
to
is
just
the understatement
stay
of the year
in Paris.
Yeah.
Okay. And, and all of the like stereotypes that I've heard my whole life. Oh, Parisians are so snobby. They're so rude, and all this. That was not my experience.
No, that was not my experience at all.
I think that if you show up with any amount of genuine curiosity and respect for their culture, they love you. They cannot do enough for you. And you don't even have to be a French speaker.
Yes.
But if you just try, it goes so far.
The arrogance that we have as Americans is astounding. And the way that we even will talk about like other cultures or other places.
Yes.
And to group everybody together, say, well, they're so blank.
I know.
That's so silly. And for like, even in Los Angeles, he's like, oh, well, people in LA are so fake. Like, have you ever been here?
No.
Like, have you talked to people? Like,
no, I'm from Northern California.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up with that kind of, prejudice against LA and Southern California my whole life, which I never really participated in, right? But like the stereotype for people that are like in the Bay Area, right, is that people in LA are stupid, full of themselves, really superficial, right? And okay, whatever. And then people from LA think that people from the Bay Area or Northern California are like really granola, and like think they're like too smart and like elitist and all of this stuff. And it's this hilarious joke. I moved to LA 2 years ago primarily for the community. Okay, because there's so many people here that share like my same lifestyle. That are like health conscious, into like fitness and working out. Alcohol is not the center of the way that they socialize, right? And then all of this creativity. And I've met like some of the most amazing, sweet, genuine, like real people ever since I've moved here.
Yeah.
You know, for
LA
sure.
has so much, and you will find what you're looking for. If
Yes.
you want to find a bunch of superficial people that like
They're
only
here.
care about their Instagram followers, that's real.
Right.
And if that's what you're looking for in people, that's what you're going to find.
Right.
So if you meet me,
That's right.
and I happen to be talking that day about the fact that my podcast could use a little Instagram support.
Hey.
Could use a few more followers on Instagram and also on YouTube, Clutter Bravado on YouTube.
Yes.
Also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
So, but
Yes.
if you meet me and that's what I'm talking about, you're going to assume that that's everything that I am. And
if that's all you want to see.
if that's all you want to see.
Right.
But if you're looking for the person that's underneath, you're going to
Exactly.
find so much more. And so when I connect with people in LA or anywhere that I'm at,
Right.
I'm going to connect with who they are because
Right.
I want to know. Because I
Right.
care. That curiosity that you were talking about, that's
Yes.
so important.
Yes.
Having curiosity about the people that you meet, the places that you go, the communities that you involve yourself
That's
in.
right.
That's the only way to find your place in it.
That's right.
And to build a connection.
And everybody has a story,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. And I also feel that sometimes we see our stories as being the most important.
Well, yeah, that's
And
easy
how
to
everyone,
do.
yeah. And I really like the idea of, this is why I started the podcast. So, quick rewind.
Yeah.
I lost my job at the design, like working with a designer, and I wanted to learn more about design. I really wanted to stay involved with it. I really wanted to discover, like, I wanted
endless.
to, yeah. And I'm like, I want to get into design. I want to start doing this. And luckily I was under the wing of someone that was a really great support of that. But I'm like, I love being on camera. I love talking to people. I'm really curious about building a presence as someone who talks about design, who will help other people to learn about design.
Yes, that's what I really like about it.
Yeah. So
You make it like accessible.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
it's still like very, there's still a lot of depth.
Yes.
It's not like on the surface,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yes, and I listened to a bunch of interior design podcasts before I started my own, and I'm like, this is what's missing.
Yours is the first one that I finished.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but you need the
yeah.
presence,
Yes.
which you have.
Thank
and
you.
the genuine curiosity.
Thank you. So it was a blending of like, these are the things that I'm good at. I love being a performer. I love being a writer. I love talking to people and learning from them. I have a genuine curiosity about design and the way people live and how to elevate my own lifestyle.
Yes.
That I want to share that with other people. So a podcast felt like a really natural progression for me to access that. And that's something that I think that we don't pay enough attention to, is how valuable conversations with each other really are.
Yes.
So much of
Especially
our
in the
social
AI
media. Yes. Oh
age
my God.
that
we were just talking about this in the episode that we recorded
Yes.
earlier today,
Yes.
by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. There are people that are using ChatGPT for therapy.
Yeah. No.
And-
I had someone make that suggestion to me,
Do
which
you
at
know-
first I started laughing.
Do you know why?
But they were serious.
I think that is so aggressive, besides everything. The biggest reason for it is that AI is not going to understand emotion
No,
as
of
being
course not.
irrational.
Right.
I'm an
you're talking
irrational
to
person. So I will have
the internet.
I was at a restaurant earlier and I needed to leave early to come here, and I asked the waitress if she could maybe like let me know if it was something that could be brought out quickly.
Right.
And her tone was just like, yeah, I can see. And I needed to go to the bathroom because I was like, oh my God, I think she might hate me. Like, did I just do something wrong? Am I a bad customer at a restaurant? Like, I worked in restaurants for so long, and if she hates me now, I don't want to be the person that she's going to make a TikTok about later for asking for the, and I had this, like, I was spiraling so hard. That's not rational.
Right.
I bring that to ChatGPT and it's probably going to tell me, like, that's okay, calm down.
No, it's
Don't
true.
put it into perspective for me. I want a therapist who's going to be like, oh my God, I understand that. Or even having a friend that I
No.
can talk to who's like, oh my God, I would have felt the same way. But did you take some breaths? Did you make it back? How was
Right.
your salad? Having a real genuine connection with
We
someone.
can't lose our humanity.
No.
I mean, of course, there's a lot of benefits to AI. Of course, it used as a tool.
Yes.
But you can't replace human beings.
Okay,
It's
I have
not-
a question about that though.
Yes.
Give me 3
Yes.
genuine benefits of AI.
Well, I don't want to give away all of my tricks and secrets here, but in the editing process,
Yeah.
I do utilize some AI-driven pieces of software.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Got
so
it.
that's
Got it.
one.
Got it. Okay.
For like because I can be paralyzed, debilitated by perfectionism.
Oh, yeah.
And so like the blank page is like the worst thing for me, and I'll be so anxious about starting a project.
Yeah.
I will at times utilize AI just to get the ball rolling.
I like that.
And I'll ask a prompt in a broad general way, and it just kind of greases the wheels, you know? And then I'm kind of off to the races.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, right or wrong, it's just it's true.
I like those too. We can stop. Like we can live.
You're like, we can stop
That's
there.
Great. That's great. No, I really like those because for me,
but that's really about it for me at this point.
Yeah,
you know,
and as a tool, doing something that's really tedious and annoying.
Right.
I think that that's really great, and helping to motivate you and helping to put you into a place where you can start actually creating something that's so valuable.
Yeah.
The thing that I push back on for the use of AI is in anything creative. And I mean that.
Oh, like the art, the music. It's some scary stuff. The six-toed feet and fingers and stuff.
They're getting a lot better, and that I hate. Okay.
But the hands are always like the dead giveaway.
I have
look wrong.
This might be a really boomer take, and I'll accept that if it is.
I love my boomers, by the way. So I embrace all generations.
Who asked for this? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, to me, I think it's a natural progression of kind of where technology is going and taking us. I'm not saying that I agree with it or that I think that it's right or wrong, but I think that at the point that we had the computer in our pocket, it's just to keep going with more and more automation and ways to eliminate certain tedious tasks, and then like basically ChatGPT is like becoming like it's like replacing Google, right? Instead of Googling something, you're speaking to AI that's like the source. It's sourcing like everything on the internet ever for you. So like, I'm not saying that I'm very like neutral about it. I think that technology is really useful as a tool that we're using as human beings. I think it is tricky in the sense that this is all so new that we don't have sufficient data as far as how it's really impacting our lives. And of course, there's a lot of mental health information about how it's really negatively impacting younger generations, people of all ages, furthering like the disconnection. Like on your last podcast episode that I was just listening to, you were talking about how instead of people just like asking their friends, right? Like asking like AI instead, like that's not great, right? And so it's like, I think that, I mean, we're not going to be here, but it's probably going to take another 100 years to see kind of if there's a way to work this out where we're using technology, we're not being used and programmed by technology, which is a lot of
that's what's happening.
Seeing.
That's exactly what's happening now.
And to still develop social skills, right? And still to prioritize how important it is to like genuinely connect, because we have to connect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is what terrifies me, right? I see a future where we are a blend of Idiocracy and WALL-E.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, 1984, right?
I think that the way that we are accelerating with technology, it's almost as if we are separating from the fact that we're animals. And I think that remembering that we are animals is really important. And how do you treat an animal? You allow it to get some rest. It needs shelter. It needs water. It needs food. It needs love.
We can't be separated from our humanity.
Our actual needs. And I feel like when we start to prioritize that, this is going directly along the lines of this. So the year of 2025, it wasn't until around February that I came to this, but I created not a New Year's resolution, but an intention for the year, so that every day I wake up and I consider this: what happens when I put my pleasure first?
Ooh.
And that is not like we hear the word.
That's a good one.
We hear the word pleasure and we think like, oh, sex, and I'm like, okay, cool it. Like,
well, that's just one
it's one very, very small part of it. And in the place of design, for example, I love going into a showroom or sitting on a chair and feeling into the fabric, letting myself sink into it.
The tactile, sensory experience.
Feeling like what it's like if I want to relax into this, how does that feel?
Yeah.
I started, I take and I teach hot yoga.
Yes, she does. She does it all.
I love it so much. It's
and I've been to one of your yoga.
Yes,
that you
have.
led,
when I first started teaching, which is really sweet.
Really?
Yeah, that was right when I first started.
Like you've been doing it forever.
I love
hot yoga.
I love it, and I love sweating, and I also love when you discover a part of your body that is holding on to a lot of stress or tension or a lot of emotion, and you have the release of that, which I consider to be pleasurable, even if it's painful. That's where I find pleasure. I started taking Pilates because it's fun.
Okay.
I love it. Reformer Pilates. Are you kidding?
Okay. So I lift weights.
Yeah.
Like 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I do my cardio. And I love hot yoga. Okay. I have not been able to get into Pilates. I've tried it a couple of times. And maybe this is like the addict in me. Okay. But I don't feel like I'm getting enough bang for my buck.
I love that you said that.
You know?
I love that you said that because that literally ties into everything that we've been talking about.
When I lift weights, I can read, depending on what I'm lifting, how much heavier that's going to be. And I know it's going to be more intense.
Yes.
I know in Pilates, they have the different colored bands. Okay. But there's something about me in a class environment. Okay. Hot yoga is great for me because I will not stretch for an hour if I'm not in a room with other people that are also doing it. But in Pilates, I turn into the rebellious teenager in PE class. And I'm like, I don't want to turn more resistance. And is this even doing anything? And it's too slow for me.
Yes.
And I feel silly saying that. And maybe I'll grow into it. But I'd love to hear your take.
That is why I love it, because in an age where everything is available to us immediately on our phones, in an age where we don't have to think very hard about things, where slowing down is something that is looked at as being lazy or not productive enough. When I get to fully lay down on my back, my entire upper body is fully relaxed. My core is engaged, obviously. And I am pulling myself on this carriage with my foot with a strap, and I'm pulling it down and lifting it up, and I can feel every muscle in my leg. And I feel how slow it's moving. I am deeply connected to every part of my body when I do Reformer Pilates, personally.
I gotta go with you. I'm able to. I'm not doing it right.
Slow down and zone in and just really get into it. And this is something that I practice in my yoga as well. I move very slowly in yoga for the most part. I do teach hot vinyasa, but I
like the slower hot yoga.
I like a lower
because I'm not there
class.
For fitness. I want to, I mean, it is all fitness, but I'm there to stretch,
it's stretching,
relax, meditate, connect.
It's focusing on your breath. It's allowing yourself to feel challenged.
Yes.
And I like moving a little bit slower. If you want to push yourself to the limit, the thing that I would ask yourself, and people, listen, we're on a podcast, okay?
Yeah.
I understand. There's a lot of people on podcasts that talk about wellness. They're like, you need to go as hard and as hot and as cold and starve yourself and then overeat and then only eat all of your calories in 4 hours during the day and then sleep 10 hours or sleep for 20 minutes.
Right.
There's no in between. Right? And how about you first chill out?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And when I'm doing exercise, I like to feel like I'm in my body. Mm-hmm. I do like to feel challenged.
Right.
Sometimes I'll yell out if I'm taking a yoga sculpt class or something like that. Where I need to get that out of my system.
Well, the variety. You need both.
I like having a little variety. So having taking a fitness class where I'm moving around a lot, jumping around, doing some cardio, cool. I love that. But most of the time when I'm doing physical exercise, the purpose of it for me is the pleasure of being in my body.
Yep.
And celebrating the fact that I have one. And that and I say this all the time in my classes. We'll be in a frog squat, right? Mm-hmm. So you're in a very vulnerable position, but you're still very strong. Your shoulders are back. You're opening up through your heart. And I encourage them to close your eyes and remember that you are a soft little animal.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You might feel sweaty right now. Feel your heartbeat in your chest. That's a bunch of organs.
Right.
You're a mushy piece of you're a mushy piece of meat.
Yeah.
That's okay. And all of
I like being a mushy piece of meat.
I love it. What is my friend says this? She talks about her body as her meat suit, and I love it.
I've heard
it's
that.
It's so cute. let yourself just be a soft little animal sometimes. And I can't remember who wrote it. Oh my God, I should absolutely remember this. But let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. And I feel that way when it comes to design. I feel that way when it comes to the way I'm living my life these days, which is that I'm going to seek to protect that animal of myself, you know, and also help it to grow as much as I can. So there are like habits that I have. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. No. So like there are habits that I have that I'm trying to disconnect from and like start to do something different, and having the experience of just being flawed and being a regular human is something that I feel like is starting to be robbed from us a little bit.
Well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Club Soda, the only real dating app for people who don't drink and everyone that wants to date us. Available for download now in the App Store, Club Soda is exclusively invite only in Los Angeles. Club Soda is different from other dating apps because video and audio are required. No more getting catfished. You can request to be invited in the app and start matching with other sober curious, and sober-friendly hotties today.
And we're back. Elyse.
Yes.
Okay. So, in terms of dating.
Okay.
I know we got to drop into that. Can be a little bit of a loaded subject matter. And obviously you can share as much or as little as you want. It's totally up to you. But my first question for you is in terms of being sober in the dating space.
Yes.
Okay. Which can be a lot of fun and a mixed bag at times.
Yes.
Okay. So how has sobriety influenced your approach to dating and building meaningful connections?
Okay. I will say that so I've been sober for 9 years.
Okay. Amazing.
And
congratulations.
Thank you.
11 years over here.
9 years exactly tomorrow, actually.
Ooh,
so technically
a good day.
8.99. But yes.
That's great.
And in that time I have kind of run the gamut on all of the ways that you can try to date sober.
Yes.
I have gone out and partied with the musicians who are up late night doing God knows what.
Yeah, right.
And
good times.
Woo! And sober, which is like a lot of fun. Honestly, I had a great time during that time, but then sort of outgrew that. I was dating people that weren't sober, but like had other lifestyle things that were aligned with mine. Like I was a musician for a while. And so when I was, performing,
what do you play?
I play the piano and I'm a singer-songwriter.
Oh!
Yeah. I also I'm very multifaceted in that. Like,
yes, I love that.
I've
Me
had
too.
a lot of things. Yes.
Yes.
But one thing that I really noticed, that I learned about myself through the process of getting sober, and also just like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of the work that I was doing on myself, was that I would self-abandon. So whoever it was that I was with, I became whatever they needed me, or whatever I thought they wanted me to be.
Yes, I could be a great chameleon. I relate. Yes.
Yeah, it's the Libra part of us, actually.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's the Libra sun. But it's also, that I never really learned how to feel confident in just being myself. Growing up, I always felt like I needed to be a little bit different in order to be accepted. I was told a lot by my parents that I was difficult and things like that, where I'm like, I want to just be easier for you. Right. I don't want to have needs. And what I was saying about my friend is that I used to see the word needy as being an insult. And now I recognize it as it's something that we all are.
Everyone has needs. It's healthy to have needs.
But the thing
to
is,
be able to express them.
If you're looking to have your needs met by someone who's made it very clear that they're not willing to.
Oh, but that's my favorite kind.
I did it for so long. And I would look through red flags, and not red flags as this person is a bad person, but red flags for me.
Right.
When I would meet someone and they're like, oh, I'm definitely not interested in an exclusive relationship or a monogamous relationship, I'd be like, that's chill. That's fine with me.
Right.
Is it fine? No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Right. But am I still going to date you? Yeah, probably.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I like, though, that in the past few years, I have gotten to a place now where I'm more willing to take a more frequent like inventory of how I'm feeling, and to be able to,
which is great.
Yes, it makes it takes a little bit of the excitement out.
Yeah, right.
Because I no longer stay in toxic relationships.
Damn it.
And I know. Isn't that boring?
I know. I know. But we turn a new page.
Yeah,
we grow, we evolve.
Exactly. And I will say that
develop self-respect.
One of the most toxic relationships that I was in was with someone else who was also sober. And
oh yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I thought that because this is someone who had been really like, a pillar of recovery for so many people, and was really, he was really motivational and had so much confidence, and he was hot. So like,
hello.
So I'm like, okay, of course,
checking
naturally,
a lot of boxes.
This person is like what I've been looking for. And the way that someone is out in the world is not usually the way that they are in a relationship.
No.
And
behind closed doors, it can be a very different.
That switch can flip instantly.
Yes.
Yeah, and I
which is a rude
had
awakening.
That experience. But the thing that I'm most grateful for is that I noticed it right away. And that was a relationship that could have lasted for years, and it lasted for 10 weeks, and I walked away from it. And I said, I'm not going to put myself through this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's growth. Yeah.
Now, then the relationship that I had after that was incredibly healthy. So much communication. It was like, it was so safe. And like, I felt like this is a person that I could see myself really being with. Kind of. But the part of it that was really missing for me was that there is such thing as having like, how do I word this in a way? Because like, this is someone that I love and that I respect so much and that I care about so much. But at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship with someone and when you want to see a future with them, you want to feel like you have enough in common and enough of an idea of what a path to the future looks like that is the same. And then also, I want to say this, and it's like, I'm having such a hard time getting it out, but passion is important.
Of course.
And I didn't know how to have.
We're only human.
Exactly. I didn't know how to have passion without toxicity for a long time.
That part.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so where I'm at right now is that like I could have stayed in that situation, knowing that this is not a situation where I felt like that passion, that like abundant pleasure, or that feeling that like I could completely just like collapse into the arms of my partner if I needed to, and that I would be completely held. And this is no fault of the other person. It's also that I wasn't very good at communicating my needs. Because communicating my needs is so scary.
It's not my strong suit. I really struggle with it. It's tough.
In going through that process and in really like taking that inventory of like, how do I feel and what is it that I'm really looking for? The last thing that I wanted to do was to stay in a relationship that wasn't exactly what I know is going to fit me, because there were moments where I just knew how unhappy I was.
Right.
And I was truly unhappy.
Right.
And again, no fault of the other person.
No.
When I say I love them, I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
Right.
And that is the hardest thing. And the
Very
biggest
hard.
thing that I've learned in sober dating is that sometimes it's just not right.
Yep.
And having to be honest about that, and having to say like, this just isn't it. And I love you so much, and I wish you well, and I will never speak ill of you, you know, and I never will, because I have so much love and respect for this person.
Yeah.
But if it's just not right,
it's just not right.
It's just not right.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. And I fully relate and appreciate that.
Yeah.
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 Along the same lines, but maybe a little bit different.
Okay.
What are some common misconceptions you think about sober dating that you've encountered?
Okay.
And how do you navigate them?
Number one, that I'm going to be triggered anytime if I'm going on a date with someone if they have a drink.
Yes.
No, please, for the love of God.
I feel the same way. It makes me so uncomfortable when someone assumes because I don't drink that they should like become, you know, I was going to say practicing nun, but I date men, but you know what I mean? Like not drink, like, no, please do you live your life.
Yes.
You're making me uncomfortable by not drinking when you would just normally have a drink. I don't care.
Or pretending like you don't.
Oh my gosh, that one.
Like, I don't really drink that much. It's not really my thing. I'm not really really that into drinking.
Yes.
And then like, I'm like, wait, did you stay out until 6 o'clock in the morning? Like doing other stuff besides drinking?
Just
like,
be honest. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Just let's start with that.
Yeah. Be so upfront.
Yes.
Also, the other thing is that I think a lot of people, when they get sober, they think that dating is going to be boring.
Right.
Babe, hold on, buckle up. It's not boring. Here's the thing. You feel all your feelings.
Exactly right.
Every
Exactly
single one
right.
of them, you feel that.
Yes.
So I think it's more interesting.
The ups and the downs.
Yes.
You both sides.
In my first 6 months of being sober, I wrote 2 books of poetry about love and feelings. And it wasn't about love. It was about like going through a breakup, because
Right.
I did.
Oh, that's always the
Yes. Going through a breakup sober.
Whew.
Again, I have 9 years of experience with this, and I've been through a bunch of them. And they don't get easier, but you develop skills to get through it in a different way.
That's right.
You know, I'm not like, after this last breakup that I just went through, at the beginning of the year, like I needed to hibernate. Like, yes, I cut off all my hair and I got Botox, so I can't frown.
And she's looking hot.
Listen, I'm feeling good about myself. And I like dug myself deeply into work, right? But then that was also how I landed in this place of like, I really want to be centered in my pleasure. Like
Right.
I want to choose my happiness.
That's right.
Not in that like goofy way.
No,
not in the
but-
way that people would say. You know what I mean?
But living your life for
yeah.
you.
Yes, exactly. Maybe that's a little selfish, and I will accept that.
I think
you
that's
know?
a healthy form of selfishness. And I think that women are commonly discouraged
Yes.
from that. That's
Yeah.
not how we're programmed to be.
Yes.
So it's like, can be perceived as like this radical thing.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be. It
It's
shouldn't be
not,
this radical
no.
thing. It should be a normalized
Not at all.
way of life.
Like the world could end literally tomorrow.
Literally
tomorrow.
As we've seen at the
Yeah.
beginning of this year.
Yeah, I'm not going to choose to be in a place of discomfort that is on the like for someone else.
No.
Like I'll choose to be uncomfortable if I'm holding a plank in a yoga class.
But that's your choice.
That's my choice.
And there's a benefit.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
To
exactly.
you. A
Exactly.
direct benefit to you. No, I love that.
So
I love that.
misconceptions about sober dating, it is not boring.
No.
You do feel all of your feelings.
Yes, you do.
And if you're dating somebody sober, please, for the love of God, just be regular. Like, be
Right,
normal.
right,
Like,
right.
If you're not normal, if you're super weird, be super weird.
Right.
I want to know that. Like, show
Right.
it to me first, like right off the bat, you know? And also, like, I'm not going to hold a different standard for you for what I'm looking for in a partner if you drink or do drugs or smoke weed or whatever.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
Right.
It's how you treat me.
Right.
And
Amen
that's
to
the
that.
exact same whether you are, sober for 20 years or whether
Right.
you are still doing your thing, or if you never had a problem with it or whatever.
Right.
I don't care. Substances don't matter to me. It's how you treat me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay. Our next question.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to someone newly sober
Mm-hmm.
who might be nervous about entering the dating world? Because that's a big one. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think, it's different for everyone, but a lot of people, like if they, are newly sober,
Mm-hmm.
might make the decision to kind of put dating on pause for a minute and just focus on taking care of themselves. But then they are curious, or maybe they're ready to
Mm-hmm.
start dating again.
Yeah. So first, if you want to get sober or quit drinking or quit doing whatever, like quit a substance.
Sure.
If you're thinking about it, chances are it's a good idea.
Right. Let's start there.
Yes. Because people that don't have a problem or don't think or, don't need to be recovered from something don't
Right.
usually seek recovery.
Yeah, that's
You know?
that's right. Yeah.
So like maybe first, give it a go.
Right.
Keep
our focus there
You'll
for
be
a
very
minute.
well supported. And if you
Yes.
if you want to talk yourself out of it because you feel like life would be better with it, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that like life for me has exploded into so much like variety and it is truly the best decision that I ever made for my life. And it's one that I don't even know that I made for myself. It's one
Right.
that I just kept following. I'm like, okay, I don't do this anymore, so I'm just going to not do it.
Right.
And I'm
that's
so
been my
grateful for that.
experience, too. Big
I
time.
choose to, like, every day I wake up and I choose to do things that, like, not everything that I do for me is good, but like, but
Well, of course not.
I'm not actively trying to destroy myself anymore.
No.
And that's huge. So
Huge.
Again, if
Start there.
if you're sober curious, go for it. Literally just go for it.
Check it out.
So sober dating. If you're newly sober and if you like just quit drinking like 2 weeks ago, babe,
We're using babe.
be alone.
Yeah, right. Right.
Be alone.
Right.
Okay.
Keep the focus on you. I mean, that's the first priority.
Truly.
Yeah, that's the first priority.
Here's the thing to remember.
Put your oxygen mask on.
I was told when I first got sober by someone who had she was 31 years sober or something crazy.
Long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, long time.
And she said, I encourage anyone who's newly sober to not date for a year. Mm-hmm. That does not mean not have sex for a year.
Right.
But that means that if you're going to have sex, make it clear that that's different from dating.
Right.
And
there you go.
Listen, there is a place for it.
That's right.
I know that especially when I was newly sober, I had the first time I had sober sex. I'll talk about this.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
The first time I had sober sex, which is the first time in my maybe entire life. Because any other time I had a little something in my system.
Sure.
And I had waited 90 days.
Yeah.
I was 90 days. So I think it was 91.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, okay, actually, no, I take that back. It was 61 days, 2
That's
months.
still
whatever.
amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Just saying.
But I was, 61 days sober. And I went out. I used to like going dancing sober. It was really fun. I would have a Red Bull and just be on the dance floor all night. And
Yeah.
I loved that. That worked for me. I was
Right.
like the person for my whole sobriety. I've been the person that like loves dancing on tables. I'm that girl.
Well, yeah.
So
I was going to ask earlier if you ever got your virgin margarita and the go-go bar experience
God.
of Palm Springs.
I didn't have the go-go bar experience, but I did have the best virgin margarita of my life. It was
See,
so
there it
good.
is.
Oh my God. Yes. No
Okay.
go-go dancers this time.
All right.
Next time.
Okay. But anyways.
There was a guy that used to go, he used to work at the bar that I used to go dancing at all the time. And keep in mind, I'm sober. Going out to a bar and dancing, you can do that if you're sober, but
Yes, you sure can.
Make sure that you have enough armor on you that you're
Yes.
not going to be tempted. I didn't feel tempted at all at the time.
Right.
But there was this guy that worked there that I was like, oh, he's hot. And he's flirted with me in the past. And I was
Right.
like, and I want to get laid. I
There
don't
it
want a
is.
relationship. I don't need to be anyone's girlfriend. I don't want to do any of the like, are we, will we, won't we situationship
Right.
BS.
Right.
I don't want that.
Right.
I want to get laid. And so I made it very clear. And this is something that I've done throughout like my entire sobriety as an
Honesty is
adult.
key.
If I want to get laid, I'm not going to pretend like I want to be your
Right.
wife, you
Right.
know?
Right.
I'm not going to ask you out on you don't have to, no.
Just
if this
be
is-
upfront. Just
I
be
want to be
transparent.
upfront. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. This
Yeah.
is what I'm looking for. Like, and I've sent some text messages before. Where it's like, listen, I find you really attractive and I know that we've had some chemistry in the past, or if it's someone I've hooked up with before,
Right.
like, can I swear?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in tonight? I have sent that text message before. And like, you can do that. Most importantly, in your early sobriety.
Dating tips by Elyse. I love it.
Most importantly, in your early sobriety, you may not be prepared, ready, or at all equipped to be someone's partner.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No.
But if you want to get laid, do that.
right.
Do that and be upfront about it. Because if you're going on an app and you're saying that like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship,
Right.
when really you want to get to like a talking stage, one date, and then hoping to hook up with them, and then like,
Right.
I don't really have anything to offer right now. Cool. You don't have
You don't
anything
have
to
to
offer.
couch it in
Don't.
something that it's not. Yeah.
No. If
Right.
you're like, hey, do you want to go out to dinner and maybe bone later?
Just put it out there.
Put it out there.
Yeah, just own it.
Like I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I find you sexy, and I think that we would have a lot of sexual chemistry. Do you want to explore that? Not saying with a stranger, okay? Go easy. Like, but you're sober. You can do whatever you want. You
That's
truly
right.
can. Have the conversation. Be honest about it. Ask for what you need, and it's more likely that you're going to get there. You know.
Sober, not dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, last thing about
Yeah,
that, if
yeah.
you're newly sober and you want to be in a relationship because you're used to being in relationships, or you want to be in a relationship because you want the support of someone or feeling like the love of someone so that you have someone to lean on, I want
Right.
to encourage you to stay single. And the reason that I say that is that I I felt that in my first like 30 days, I wanted someone to sleep next to. I wanted to feel like I had someone there, because the isolation of being alone is something that I realized I was drinking over quite a bit. I didn't want to go home from a party because I didn't want to be alone.
No.
And the biggest lesson that I learned in early sobriety is how to be alone. And I love being alone.
Right.
I love being alone. My own company is so valuable.
About to say that. I love my own company.
Yes, I take myself out to dinner a lot.
It's
love
fun.
being by myself.
I have no
love
issue with
taking
that.
myself on dates, going out to movies. I get to choose what I want to do. Sometimes I'll bring a journal or a book. Sometimes I'll just sit there and look around or meet somebody there.
And I used to be terrified to do that, but I'm totally okay with it now. And sometimes I prefer it.
Yeah. And sleeping alone, that's all I've done for a very long time.
Right.
Like even the last relationship that I was in, like we were long distance. And so like I slept alone all the time.
Right.
And I get so used to it and I like it. It's nice. Yeah.
I mean, there's never going to be better company than your own company.
Yeah.
I mean, someone else in the mix is nice,
Yes.
but you're going to be with yourself forever.
Yes. And especially in early sobriety, as you're discovering who you actually are without the substances you've been putting in your body, it's so valuable to get to know you and show yourself the love that you want from others.
Exactly.
I know how that sounds. Okay.
No, but it's true.
And it's like when I used to hear that, I was like, what do you mean I have to love myself before I can love somebody else? That's not entirely true.
Right.
You can be loved. You are deserving of love all the time.
Yep.
Every day. And there are times when you may not feel like you are, and that is the time when you deserve to feel it the most. Mm-hmm. And especially in early sobriety, there are so many moments that I had where I felt like why would anyone want me? Why would anyone want to be with me?
Right.
I'm clearly so broken. I have so many things. And like what I discovered in that time is the kind of love that I needed was not a romantic love. It was the love of the people, the community around me that was going to actually take care of me, my family.
Right.
People that will love me for who I am without needing something, without needing me to perform in a certain way.
Exactly.
I got to just be flawed. And I found that at first in like my friendships and my community and my family a little bit. And then once I got more used to sitting in that and like feeling more comfortable, feeling loved, it became a lot easier for me to be a good partner so that I wasn't constantly pulling and demanding someone else to be something different or trying to change myself to be what they wanted me to be. Instead, I can just be myself and have a partner show up as themselves, and we can decide whether or not it works and whether or not we want to make it work,
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So last question before we start to wrap things up, and you can answer this or not, but are you seeing anyone right now? I love the pause. And the exhale.
This is what I will say.
Okay.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But I'm not saying no as in I don't have like any love in my life. I have so much love in my life.
No, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Am I currently dating someone? No. I have a lot of people that I spend a lot of time with and that I love truly. And I feel that right now all of my needs in that area of my life are met. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But all that being said, I don't consider myself available.
Okay. All right. So on that note, it could go either way, but will you be joining the Club Soda dating app?
I kind of want to check it out. Because I identify as unavailable,
too.
I was just going to ask.
It's for
because
friends
I would love that. Friends are huge for me, and I've been spending so much time with my friends lately.
Yes.
And because I'm having because my 9th birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
I'm having a really cute dinner party with my girlfriends, and we've been spending so much time together, like me and my girls getting together on the weekends, and we play cards together, and I love it. Aww. And it's so fun. And here's the best part about it is because my co-host is a chef.
Yes.
And because he loves to entertain, he's hosting the party and cooking for us.
Laurent.
I know, right?
He's such a stud.
So it's like to have that.
Is
what
everything.
else do I need?
No, you got it. You
know?
got it.
I feel like I have people around me and people that I love so much that like I don't feel I don't feel the absence of a romantic partner.
Yeah, well, I love that. And
so, but more friends, I will join it for friends.
Okay, so...
And if at some point I do find myself looking for...
You can always check the box for you're also open to great dates. But you can say now that you're here for friends.
Yes.
Because that option exists.
Yes, okay.
So with Elyse's permission, we might be including a little snippet of her profile once she creates it.
Okay.
And I just want to thank you so much for coming out today, for being an amazing guest, for sharing so much from the heart about your experience.
Yeah.
And I loved learning about your podcast and all the behind the scenes and the origin story.
Yeah.
And I'm overflowing with gratitude.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me on. I like being a guest of a podcast, not being a host, not having to be like, I can just be myself.
Yes,
I
you
like
can.
it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you next week. Bye.